I'm done with my color and value practice, I'm going to practice mixing colors. You want to set it up like a color wheel. So if you've done this activity before, awesome. See if you remember how to create a color wheel from just the 3 primary colors. So I have yellow, cyan, and magenta, or yellow, blue, and red. So down here on the lower section of my paper, I'm going to lay out a color wheel. And thankfully here I have a trusty color wheel on my arm. So I notice that red, yellow, blue are what is called a triad. They make a triangle. The secondary colors, orange, purple, and green, also make a triad. So I'm going to start with my primaries first. It doesn't matter where you put them. I'm going to start with magenta at the top, clean my brush completely. And if you want to draw a triangle first to get started, that might be helpful. There's my triangle. Next, I'm going to do yellow. And last, I'm going to do blue or cyan. After that, I'm ready to mix the secondary colors. Secondary colors are made when you mix 2 primaries together. So I'm going to do this in my painter's palette. I'm going to take a little bit of magenta, a little bit of yellow, and to speed up for time, I am going to do all of this part first. Just like that. Now it's time to mix them up. So first I'm going to mix up my yellow and my magenta to make orange. If you've done equal parts, you're creating that secondary orange, and I'm going to add it to my color wheel right there. Clean my brush completely, dry it off, very important with acrylic or tempera paint. I'm going to mix my yellow and cyan or blue to create my green. I'm going to put it in between my yellow and blue because that's what I used to make green. And last, I'm going to mix up my magenta and cyan, or red and blue, to make purple. Now, if you have time and you want to take this a step further and add the tertiary or intermediate colors, you can. So what I'm going to do from there to my purple is I'm going to add a little bit more red or cyan to create a red violet. Then I'm going to add a little bit more blue since it's next to green, and I'm trying to make something that goes in between. So that means I want more blue and less yellow because it's further away from yellow, so I need less of it. So I'm going to add blue to this here to make blue-green. Okay. If I'm trying to make yellow-green, then, you know what, I'm going to come back to that one in a second. I'm going to do all of them first and then come back around. And then last, to make, let's go with yellow-orange. So that means I'm going to add more yellow to this. Add it to my orange to make yellow-orange. That would make sense. There we go. Now I got yellow-orange. Now I'm going to travel back around the wheel to make the last 3 intermediate or tertiary colors. So now I'm going to go back to where I made my blue-green, and I'm going to add yellow to it to get closer to this side of the wheel. I'm going to add quite a bit of yellow because I got far away from it when I made the blue-green. So now I'm going to mix that up. I'm going to make sure that color is different than that one, and then I'm going to put it right there. Now I've got yellow-green. Clean my brush completely. All right, so now I'm going to travel back to my, let's do the indigo, the blue violet. So here I've got red violet, so that means I need to add lots of blue to get it closer to the blue on the color wheel. I'm going to check to make sure that it does not look like violet and it does not look like blue. That one looks pretty blue. So I'm going to add just a teeny tiny bit of magenta, just a little. And then I'm going to mix it up. And then I will mix it to that little spot there. And I want to make sure it's more purple than this one, but not as purple as that one. Okay, and then the very last color I need to make is red orange. All right, so I'm going to go back to my yellow orange, and I'm going to add lots of magenta or red to get red orange. And I'm checking to make sure it's different. Oh, yep, it sure is. All right, there we go. Now I've created a full color wheel. The last thing that's going to be important to understand is how to create brown. And there's plenty of different browns that you can create. You can create like light browns, dark browns, warm browns, cool browns. It really just depends what you add. So I'm going to, in this empty one here, I'm going to add a little bit of magenta. I'm going to add a little bit of cyan or blue. Right now I'm doing equal parts. And I'm going to add a little bit of yellow. And I'm going to mix them all together this time. And you're going to get some type of brown. Right now it looks like a very green brown because maybe I didn't have enough of whatever is across the color wheel from green. So that means I don't have enough red. So if you don't see brown, add whatever is across the color wheel from the color you are seeing. So now I'm going to mix in some cyan. I'm sorry, not cyan, magenta. Now I've got a brown. And when we do this with acrylic, it's going to appear a lot thicker. Right now we're just using tempera paint. So now I have my middle brown is what I'm going to call it. I want to lighten this brown, so now I'm going to add white to it. And I can also darken the brown. You can warm up the brown by adding more warm colors. You can cool down the brown by adding a cool color, like blue. So try, if you finish this color wheel piece early, try to see how many different types of brown you can create. Happy art making!